Good? Please gather around. We apologize for the accommodations, but as you can see, it's a rather active construction site.
They're beautiful accommodations, Mike.
We've got a truck behind you. Right, cool. Thanks everybody for coming out on this beautiful, cool day in downtown Yuba City. My name's Mikey Amina. I'm the Executive Director of the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency. I'm not going to do too much talking. There are more important people who are going to be making some statements. I just want to sort of set the tone for this, make a few opening words. That in terms of the local community, the agency, we are grateful to a number of people here, including the Corps of Engineers, who issued the very quick permit. The state of California provided funding for that. You're going to hear about that later on. Central Valley Flood Protection Board, also an important regulator. The community for being so patient with us during this period of advanced construction that you're going to be hearing about. Just to summarize, everything you're going to be hearing about today is going to be with regard to the kickoff of about a 3-mile levee reconstruction project that's going to take place between an area just about a half a mile south of us, north to Whitaker Hall, if you know where that is. It's about 3 miles of work of deep story wall construction, very similar to what we've been doing since 2013, but this is recent work that was identified as a result of the high water, recent events at Oroville, and some analysis that was done in downtown Yuba City that necessitated this emergency levee repair. So we've got a lot of work to do. It's very important that everybody you're going to be hearing about from today played a huge role in getting the funding, getting the permission, getting the trucks that you now see rolling in the ground and doing the real work of actual construction. So my first speaker is Mr. James Gallagher. Mr. James Gallagher is a state assemblyman. Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Nielsen, of course, have been leading the charge to acquire the funding for just these types of repairs in partnership with the California Department of Water Resources. So, Mr. Gallagher.
Well, thank you, Mike. About a month ago, we held a rally right just north of this spot on the levee. About 250 people from this community rally came together and identified that we need to get vital repair work done on our levees. And I'm very proud to announce that call was heard. And all of the parties came together, saw the need, and what I think is just a tremendous testament to what we can do when we work together. We're standing here today with trucks moving, with equipment going, and we're going to get this critical stretch of levee repaired. Just so you understand, the magnitude. This stretch of levee protects somewhere around 80,000 people. If this stretch of levee were to break, the city of Yuba City would flood. It would be devastating. I live here. My wife and our 5 children live in this community, so it's pretty close to home. And we were evacuated during the Oroville crisis, so we want to do everything we can to ensure the safety of these communities, and that starts with fixing the dam up there. But the other big part of that is ensuring that we have safe levees that brings those, that keeps those floodwaters from our communities in the wintertime. So I just really want to say thank you to all the people who made this happen, and I want to start with Mike and Amina, who I'm so glad that I was part of the group. Best decision that we ever made. I was part of the group that helped hire Mike on at Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency. And Mike is money. You should call him Money Mike, because he is clutch. And whenever we've needed him, and whenever he has come through each and every time, him and his team of people, nobody does it alone. But to get all these people to work together to make this happen is awesome, and it starts with the leadership at the top. I also want to thank Department of Water Resources, Eric Koch, all the people at Flood Safe. I know Mike Mears was here with us today. Really came together to make sure that we could expedite this project, get it done. I want to thank the Army Corps of Engineers, Colonel Ray, who's here also today. Thank you, Colonel, and your team, seeing the need that we needed to streamline this, make sure that we get this done before the next storm season, finding the ways. You know, we all have procedures that are in place for a reason, but when it's time to get the work done, we need to make sure those are going to work for this community, and you guys help do that. Central Valley Flood Protection Board, thank you guys for all your help on this. I know Clyde McDonald's with us today from the board. They played a critical role. My colleague in the Senate, Senator Jim Nielsen, our congressional representatives, Congressman Doug LaMalfa, who's here with us today, and just provided instrumental support from the federal level. Congressman Garamendi's office as well. So everybody came together to help make this a reality today. It's a big victory, and it shows us what we can do when we all work together, when we all come together. I'll see Joe Countryman back there from the Flood Board. Thank you for all your help. You know, so look, this is a great day because people saw the need and we're getting it done, and you know, we're seeing the proof of it right now. So I'm just truly thankful. This has been a team effort from the beginning. It started with the community coming together a month ago, identifying the problem, and people responded. And so we are appreciative of that, and we're going to continue to do this vital work along these levees. Thank you for being with us today. Next up, I would like to invite my colleague, Senator Jim Nielsen, who's been in this fight with me to help protect our levees and provide the funding for levee repair. And Senator, please come on up.
Thanks to Senator Gallagher, and thank you for your leadership. He's carried a significant legislative bill that's going to be helpful in what we're doing right here. You know, this is very significant today. Not always do all the elements of government work together smoothly. And often very needed things are not done, or at the least not done timely, because the agencies of government cannot cooperate. And I want to really praise the Army Corps of Engineers and the Department of Water Resources for being very focused here. This is probably the most vulnerable spot of levees that needs to be addressed because of the enormous population that would be affected by a breach here. I must tell you though, this is a start, but there are many vulnerable levee spots up and down the Feather and Sacramento that are going to need to be addressed before the rains hit. We've had, Senator Gallagher, Congressman LaMalfa and I, a lot of conference calls. Mike Inamini being a key leader helping us facilitate those calls, talking about the individual districts, the heads of those districts. What do you need? What are your most important spots? Don't tell us every levee you need fixed, but what's the critical ones that we need to address. And I think we've got a pretty good handle on that. So as we move forward, there's more yet to do. But what is significant here is the cooperation and government working together in a proactive way. Not when there's a breach and a boil becomes a flood, but rather before. And doing thorough investigation and identification of what those vulnerabilities are, with the best of the technological and engineering knowledge within these agencies and others who work with them, the contractors, for example, to get it fixed. And to get it fixed right. Sometimes government doesn't get it all right. But here we have no margin for error. This is public safety. This is human life. This is property. We have got to protect that with the greatest responsibility in government and as leaders to fulfill that obligation. And here today, you're seeing a great example of that. What works. I'm glad to be a part of it. Working with Congressman LaMalfa, Dave Gallagher, Flood Protection Board, all the districts up and down, and all the leaders in the cities and the counties are working together. And we're working with resolve. Let me now bring forward our Congressman, Doug LaMalfa. He's our voice in Washington, D.C., and he's been a part of some committee hearings that I know will be very helpful to get us to reach this moment. Doug.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen and Assemblyman Gallagher. It's a pleasure for me to be able to stand here today and be a small part of the good that has come from this. I had the pleasure of representing this area for about 8 years in the state legislature. I represent Butte now. I don't have the pleasure of representing this area, but we work with Mr. Garamendi's office on this because this still is a home base for me in the minds and hearts of me and my constituents as well. Because this is important. This is a system we have here. And what we saw with the Oroville Dam back in February and the ongoing issue that it is now still, this is all the system we have to all be collectively concerned about. So Oroville with its repairs underway, and there's an example right there where we all stood, us legislators and so many of us in the community, the districts, saying we can't accept excuses, delays, studies, this and that would delay Oroville's repairs and upgrades that's needed to make that safe. So federal and state agencies came together quickly with a plan. It was actually pretty amazing. And Oroville's on its way. And so now we see with the great importance here, as I came down and toured this area in February with the local agency folks to see what was going on, and the repairs were being done below starred bed, not actually to the levee, but just to keep the levee from boiling on an emergency temporary basis. This is the time when we need to be doing things. Here in the summer, not under emergency, not under double overtime, not when the river is full, but expediting the process. So the example we saw with Oroville Dam on agencies getting together, bypassing the long's delay, getting permits done and getting the work done, we're seeing here today. So I want to take my hat off to Army Corps, DWR, for making this happen in a much shorter amount of time than what normally would have been the case. 2 years, that would be unacceptable. The chart shows right over here several key zones that put Yuba City in peril of leaks that would happen along the levee. The same folks that we were looking at below Star Bend showed me areas above Highway 20, Calusa Highway here back in February, where the water subs into these big ponds over there that shows we have an immediate problem. And so these red zones we see on the map, we're able to accomplish that with the type of permanent levee repair we need to get done by November 1st or whatever, then we will have achieved a win here, as well as continuing to do the work down below Star Bend, so we're not going back there with black matting and more gravel to stop boils from happening. Should this river come up, should we have an amazing rainfall, we'll be doing the permanent things. We do it one time, we do it right, better for the taxpayers, certainly better for the public safety of the people of this area that expect this. People don't care what the name is on the hard hat, what the name is on the door of the pickup, which agency's taking credit or which agency's not getting it done. They want the result. They just want to know that the levee's fixed, that the public safety is being enhanced and made to what they expect as taxpayers and as citizens, which is reasonable. So let this be the model. First at Lake Oroville back a few months ago, and right here today, an expedited process which will become the standard for what the process should be. So I don't have to harangue people in the Transportation Infrastructure Committee in Washington, D.C. I don't want to have to do that. My colleagues in the state legislature, we all just want the results, and we all be able to get the kudos where they are. So kudos go today, DWR, Army Corps, expediting this, getting this done, and the sooner we get this press conference done, the sooner they can get to work on this levee. So thank you all.
So I'd like to introduce Mr. John Nicoletti, who's representing Congressman Garamendi's office. And I just want to set a little bit of context here, and I'm going to do this really briefly. What you're seeing here in terms of somebody who's been doing this for a while, representing the Spufka team who've been doing this for a while, this is unprecedented. The cooperation that we've gotten from the Corps of Engineers, the collaboration on the technical designs, the work that you see happening, funding coming together in this short period of time never happened before. And we have also Mr. LaMalfa to sing some praises, and Mr. Garamendi, represented by John Nicoletti. We're a big part of that, of getting representation of all of us here protected by these levees getting some attention drawn to this. So thanks very much, Congressman Garamendi. Okay. Don?
Thank you very much. Today is a remarkable day. Congressman Garamendi just wants to praise the tireless efforts of the people and their teams that have been involved with this project. You know, this is a stretch of levee that affects most of the businesses in Yuba City, which affects Sutter County. It's highly important that this gets dealt with. But if not for the efforts of the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency, the Department of Water Resources, Corps of Engineers, Central Valley Flood Board, City of Yuba City, County of Sutter, really band together with leadership from Assemblyman Gallagher's office, Senator Nelson's office, Congressman Malfa, and all those staff members that put in the work to get this done. We couldn't have been here today. And so just as a stark reminder to this winter, we had 30 miles of levee that held up really well. We have some critical ground here that really didn't do much more than put us at risk and in question of how to best move forward. And for the Congressman, he just firmly is committed to ensuring that the constituents have flood protection and that we get it as soon as possible. It's what they deserve. And that really that the people standing on this levee today can thank each other and look at each other as the Congressman does for each of you that he admires for getting this work done. It's a special day to recognize that we can do this if we want to work together. And I'm especially touched by seeing Joe Countryman here because of all the early days, you're kind of a godfather to flood protection in my world. And seeing it through here is a demonstration. I think everybody here will have that longevity and that strength to stay in this fight for the generations coming after ours. You're proving that for all of us today, Joe. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Next speaker is Clyde McDonald, representing the California Central Valley Flood Protection Board, long-time advocate for flood control in California Central Valley.
Thank you very much. The Central Valley Flood Protection Board, which I'm on with Joe Countryman and 5 others, is the state agency that issues permits to allow projects like this to go on. We make sure that the projects meet engineering standards, and we work closely with the Corps of Engineers, our partner in this. We both kind of look at it, and that's kind of what we do. But our object is public safety, make sure that the work that is done correctly, as said. Is it done correctly, and to do that? So that's our job. I'd just like to thank the leadership that came from the city for this project. I think that the city was outstanding in pushing for this project to move ahead. The Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency also really stood up and pushed hard. The Department of Water Resources worked hard on this. Then the Corps of Engineers, I think we have to give a lot of thanks to the Corps for accelerating their permit process. As I said before, they are our co-permitting agency. The Corps' permit is arduous to make sure that things are safe. They did a great job of accelerating this, and so I'd really like to thank the Corps there. And also I'd like to thank the Governor for making funds available to make this go ahead. Just as a last thought, I'd like to sort of put this in perspective, in the larger perspective of what's going on in the Central Valley. The levees, not so much this one, but a lot of the levees that we have in the Sacramento Valley were built a long, long time ago. And they don't meet what we would say are the correct standards today to protect areas like this. So we have to go back and fix those. And in 2007, the state legislature came in and said, we've got to fix these levees. They directed the Department of Water Resources to develop a new flood control plan for the Central Valley. The department has done that. They bring their plan forward, comes to our board, we then approve it. We're going through the update. This is going to be a long project, and it will probably cost on the order of $20 billion over the next 30 years. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. This is an example, and one of the big problems that we have that's getting fixed here is seepage through the levee or under the levee. And that's what we've got in a lot of our problems. So thank you very much, and congratulations to the community, and thank you, members.
The next speaker I'd like to introduce is Commander Colonel David Ray, Commander of the Sacramento District Headquarters, before Mr. Ray makes his remarks, I just want to point out that there's a lot of congratulatory notes being spoken here. I want you to know that this guy was particularly rough on the Butte team, and we are going to be catching up on nights and weekends as a result of the process that the commander and his staff put us through. But if you had asked me 3 weeks ago that we were going to get the permission to modify a federal levee in time to make this construction season, I would have laughed at you. But it's tremendous what Commander Ray and the Sacramento District team has put together in terms of the permitting process, holding our feet to the fire to ensure the highest level of public safety. We're very grateful for that, Commander Ray, and your leadership. That produced Colonel David Ray.
Thank you very much, Representative LaMalfa, Assemblyman Gallagher, Senator Nielsen, Mr. John Nicoletti, representing Congressman Garamendi, and all of our partners at the Central Valley Flood Protection Board, the Department of Water Resources, and Sabufka, and Mayor Cleveland, and the representatives from the local community. We're pleased to be able to assist in getting the work started here in Yuba City as quickly as we have. As you've heard today, the reducing flood risk is a shared responsibility. These emergency repairs demonstrate what can happen when we all come together as a team, from the role of our elected officials to our federal, state, local flood control and resource agencies. The repairs to this section of levee is going to help protect more than 80,000 residents. And as a Corps of Engineer, primary responsibility being public life safety, that makes this important. By taking immediate action, we're ensuring reduced risk for the upcoming flood season. Just as they were in 1986 and 1997, the levees along the Feather River were tested last winter. This action is going to ensure that they're ready to withstand a similarly rigorous test next year if required. This action was a top priority for both the South Pacific Division and the Sacramento District to review the project and render the decision so that Sabufka could get the required permits to make the repairs before the next season. A number of folks from many disciplines from the Army Corps, along with supporting state and federal agencies, contributed their resources and expertise to make this happen. I want to express my appreciation to the entire team. And we've all got to remember that this is not the only location impacted by last year's storms. There remains extensive work across the entire Central Valley to reduce flood risk and recover from the winter of 2017. We're thankful to be part of this team and look forward to a great summer and winter ahead. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker is the Honorable Stanley Cleveland, Mayor of Yuba City.
Pretty much all that could or should be said has been already. But as a direct representative of the city of Yuba City and the citizens being protected, Stan Cleveland, Mayor of Yuba City, I would really like to take the time to thank each and every one individually. First of all, for Mr. Mike Inimene, Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency Director, Executive Director and everything. Fantastic job. I was also part of the group that hired him and put him into place, and boy, what a blessing it was to us, and a great loss for actually California DWR. Appreciate the federal and state electeds and department represented here today for your work. We, the people of Yuba City, thank the California Department of Water Resources, specifically the Division of Flood Management, for stepping forward with the 100% funding that the governor allowed you to present. Also, the Feather River levee system is second in California only to the Sacramento River in importance to providing clean water and flood protection. And then Colonel Ray, the United States Army Corps of Engineers, thank you so much for reaching within the process of the Corps of Engineers and finding the paths to be able to make this occur in the short time that you had. And yeah, it's okay to make them run a little hard. That's what they're paid for to do, and to get the job done. And then, of course, expediting the 408 permit so they could get this started right away. And then Clyde McDonald, Leslie Gallagher, and Joe Countryman from the Central Valley Flood Protection Board. Thank you so much for supporting this, getting behind it, pushing it, and recognizing the importance of this project, not just to our area, but to the process throughout the state of California, and showing that things can be done, and when everybody works together and is very clear as to what the needs are and what solutions can be reached. Also want to thank Congressman Garamendi's office, his staff, John Nicoletti, thank you for being here and representing, and then Congressman Doug LaMalfa for working together to push through the federal bureaucracy, not just on this, but having a good partnership already established so that when these things come up, you're able to go to each other, talk turkey, as we would say up here, and get it done and get the great support in the federal level. Thank you so much for this and completing the undaunting task. I must say, wow, to the massive attention that our local, state elected legislative representatives have given this levee project. Thank you so much. It is an honor to have Senator Jim Nielsen and Assemblyman James Gallagher as our voice at the California State Capitol. Real negotiators and fighters for the communities they represent. Not only for their constituents, their efforts will have significant positive impact for decisions made on flood protection projects nationwide. This is going to set an example. Also, I have a message for our local community regarding the impacts of the urgent levee project will have to the Feather River access. Please be patient with the construction activities. What is being done has never been done in such a short time. By November 1st of this year, we're expected to have this project closed up and everything put back into place. Number two, so that makes it that time is of the essence to finish this project. Let the workers get done what they need to be done. It will be inconvenient, but please let them get the work done. It's your safety that is at risk here if we do not. And also, even under the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency's aggressive schedule, work will be completed 1 month after the official flood season starts, which is usually October the 1st. So we're going to be stretching it. Hopefully it'll be just on the dry side, cleaning things up for that last month. That's what the projection is. But so we're really aggressive. But community, thank you for helping out by being patient, and we will try to get access periodically at certain locations if we can, working with the construction company to see if we can get some access to the river periodically. We're going into our biggest salmon season that we think we're going to have in the last 6 to 8 years, so we're already getting a lot of calls about the access, so we'll see what happens with that. With that, thank you very much, and we're looking forward to having full safety here on our levee. Thank you again.
Thanks, Dan. Folks, by the way, we're going to be 1 month into the flood season. The end of this construction project is December 1st. That's 1 month after the official start of the flood season. So we again want to reiterate the mayor's comments that lots happening here in downtown Yuba City. We appreciate the forbearance, the patience the folks have shown us thus far. You gotta be careful what you wish for. We got a whole bunch of work to do over the next couple of months, and there'll be a lot of activity that everybody's going to be involved in one way or another. With that concludes our official press conference. Of course, the speakers will be sticking around. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us in this cool weather in downtown Yuba City.
Way to go, Mike.